Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how you can use YouTube API in Java. You will learn how to view your channel statistics, how to list all of your videos, and finally, how to update any video title. So let's get started. Before we start programming, we have to enable YouTube API. So go to your Google Cloud Console and then click on a Select a Project button if you don't have a project yet. Then click on a new project and put some example name, for example, my project, and click on Create. And you see, project was created. If the project was not automatically selected, select it manually. And then under search bar, type YouTube. And then select YouTube Data API. Then click on Enable button. Great, and now you have a YouTube Data API enabled. Next step is to create the credentials for our app. So click on Create Credentials. And then under which API are you using, select YouTube Data API. And under what data will you be accessing, select User Data and click Next. Then under app information, put your application name, for example, my app. And under user support email, you can select your email. Then you can leave application logo empty. And also under developer contact information, you can put your email address. So in my case, and then click Save and Continue. Then under Scopes, click on Add or Remove Scopes. And then under Filter, type YouTube. And select a scope with description Manage your YouTube account. So select it and click Update. And you can see that this scope was added to your sensitive scopes. Then click Save and Continue. Then under Application Type, select Desktop App. You can name it whatever you want, so we can leave just Desktop Client. And then click on Create. As you can see, YouTube created credentials in JSON file, which we should download it, so we can use it later in our application. And then finally click Done. And now the final step in Google Cloud Console is to create a test users that will have access to our API. To do this, click on Authentication Consent screen, then click on Audience, and then under Test Users, click on Add Users button. In our simplified case, I will input the email of the same user that also created a YouTube API, but in reality, those usernames can be totally different. So let me put my email and then click Save. As you can see, this user was added under Test Users. Another point I would like to make is that the publishing status is testing by default, so when you're done with testing, you can put your app into production by clicking on this button Publish App. But in our case, we will just leave it on testing for now. And that's it. Now we can finally start coding. I have already prepared a special Maven project for you guys, so you can check it out from my GitHub repository. I will now explain all the important things that you need to know. So let me just quickly show you which dependencies are needed for this project. So if I open my POM file, you can see that we need 4 dependencies. The first one is API client, the second one is OAuth client, and the third one is HTTP client. And finally, for YouTube API, we also have to include Google API services. Now the next step is to copy your JSON file that you have downloaded in previous step to source main resources folder. As you can see, I have already copied this file and also renamed it to just simply clientsecret.json. Now let's go to a special class named YouTube Helper that handles the authorization part of this application. As you can see, this class has one main function getService, which returns a YouTube object, which is then used for calling any API function that YouTube provides. In order to retrieve this YouTube service, we have to first authorize it by calling the authorize function. This function reads a client secret from a JSON file that we have copied before. As you can see here, we have a path to our JSON file. and then it builds a Google authorization code flow, and finally triggers a user authorization request. If this authorization request is granted, it returns a credential object that is then used for creating a YouTube service. I will show you how this works in the next step, so let's go to our main class YouTube application.java. This class contains functions for all of the things I have mentioned in the beginning of this video, for showing channel statistics, listing all videos, and finally for updating video title. So let me now just quickly explain each of them. As you can see, we are first creating a YouTube service object from the YouTube helper class that I have explained before, and then we use this YouTube service in each function. So if we start with the first function, show channel statistics, you can see that we are first creating a request for listing all channels, and by setting this flag setMine to true, that means that it will include only the channels that belongs to the user that was authorized, and then we finally execute this request, and the response we get all of the channels, and then we print the channel ID and the statistics object for each of the channel. Let me show you how this works. So if I uncomment this function and run it, you can see that the browser window was immediately opened, and then we have to choose an account. Then in the next step, you will see that my app wants access to your Google account. You just click continue, and you will see this message, received verification code, and you may close this window. So close it, and then you will see that we get result back to our console. As you can see, we have a channel ID printed here, and also the statistics object, which contains the number of all subscribers, number of all of the videos, and number of all of the views on this channel. Now let's go back to our second function for listing all videos. First, we are calling a getUploads playlist ID for a specific channel ID. In our case, this will be the ID that we have retrieved before, and then we use this playlist ID in the list videos function. Here we are creating a playlist items request for this uploads playlist ID, and then for each item that we retrieve, we are getting the video ID, and then by calling a new function getVideoById, we are getting the video object, and from this object we are getting the title of this video, number of all of the views, and number of all of the comments. And finally, we print all of this data. Let me now run this function so you can see the result. Here is the output. So as you can see, for each video we are getting its ID, its title, then number of views, and number of comments for this video. And now the moment you have all been waiting for, I will now show you how you can update your video title programmatically. So let's go back to our code, to our final function, update video title. As you can see, this function is fairly simple. So first we are calling a getVideoById function that we have also used before. So we are getting a video object back, and then we are calling a getSnippet. And on this snippet, we are calling a setTitle function. So this is how to set a new title on the video. And then finally, we are creating an update request and execute it. If you also want to update the description of the video, you can just simply call the setDescription function. So let me now show you the final result. So we would like to change the title of this video. So instead of this long title, we would just like to use this part. Now let's go back to our code and then first retrieve the ID of this video, which in my case is this. So let's go to our main function and then call update video title with this ID and the new title. If I now execute this, you can see that we have successfully updated the title. So if I now go to my browser and refresh the page, show you everything you need to know. You can see also the updated title here. And that's it, guys. Now you know how to use YouTube API in Java. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you found this video valuable, please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one.